Yeah, discuss that. Tell me the last time before then you had gone to Target.
Probably like 5, 6 years before to get like stuff for college.
That's insane to me that you.
And going in there,
As always, Allie, your host. Moving to my full name, Alessandra, for rating purposes. So if I alternate between the two, be patient with that. And then with me, as sometimes always, is my wonderful kind of co-host, Nate, who just appears at his convenience slash when I demand his presence. How are you?
good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, well, you sort of are starting off the topic train by you sending me, well, you sent me an article about sort of the concept of happiness versus contentment and how we're doing happiness wrong essentially by looking for it when we should be looking for contentment. Do you want to speak a little on that and why you felt so inspired to send me this article and where you found it?
Okay, I think I found it just like I follow these financial blogs, but they always put like random, like FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early.
Mhm.
There's a lot of those blogs, but then there's a lot of articles on kind of like why do you even want to retire early? Like why do people want that? And
Yeah.
I think people think, like I think, because you're happier, right? I don't know. You don't have to. You can do whatever you want. So I think those articles are mixed in. So that's how I found it. And then this was an article by a research study done at, I think it's UC Berkeley. You can link the article, I'm sure, in the video.
Yeah, I'll link it down below.
What was it like? Maybe like a 10-minute read, not even?
Naughty, I read it while I was blow drying my hair. So
Okay. You don't even have to be paying attention that much. Five minutes. But the whole premise is like everyone's chasing happiness or success. And then there's also like the contentment piece. So at what point, what's the balance of being content with like your life as it is, but also wanting to strive for something better? Because if you always want something better, does that mean you're never content? Or can you be content but always want more? I guess more could be financial. If you want a family, like kids, that could be more. Or you don't care about either. You just want to be an artist and you want your art to be seen, or whatever it is. Like, what's the balance between being content and happy, but also striving for something greater? Is that kind of how you?
yeah, well, I think there were so many layers to it. That's why I thought it was so unique, and it was such a quick way to bring in all these concepts into, I don't know, one manageable article. And I've not read an article in a long time that was this concise, but I most resonated with the concept of happiness is external. Contentment is being fine with any external stimuli. Your sort of contentment comes from yourself. So one of the examples they gave in the article was, you know how if there's a rowdy dinner with your family and everyone's loud and rambunctious and moving around, externally the stimuli there's a lot and you in theory shouldn't be happy, but you are because you're not happy, you're content, you're
Oh,
feeling
like
a sense
if
of
you're like
peace.
your mom and dad at dinner or something and your kids are arguing or fighting and it's crazy and like the cat went to the bathroom on the floor, it's like you're still happy because oh, like everything's right, even though the situation's not great.
Yeah, and it's sort of just like there's the chaos, but it is what it is, and you find sort of the joy in the
Hmm.
mess in a certain way. So I thought that was a really neat. way of putting it.
Yeah. I took it because I'm, reading these articles for like the finance piece of it. So I think I was like already in that mindset, but I took it as, the jobs I have, it's like every time I'm in it, I'm like, oh, this is good. And then 3 months later, you're like, oh, this, like, I want more money. I want more of this. I should have that. Like, pretty quick, you're already like, okay, what's next?
Well,
It's
that's
hard to, and maybe that's because maybe if you really love what you're doing, that starts to go away. But maybe if you're like, I'm kind of doing this for the money or something, you're like, okay, I've done this for 6 months. How can I make more? What can I do next? And I think
that's our
I
brain.
looked at it.
That's called hedonic adaptation, which is like my favorite example to give to anyone that's like, well, what now? What next? Our
Oh,
brain,
like is that when you get used to something and then,
yes. Our brain is essentially trained so that we're not focusing on every blade of grass, every uh, movement, every essentially external stimuli, everything that would hinder us from, the olden days, it would be surviving, getting food, keeping warm, making shelter, all those basic things. Our brain gets used to all those things. So then everything around us just fades into the background. That's why they say to make a gratitude list, because we are essentially wired to not feel gratitude in a lot of ways, because our brains tell us get used to everything so that you can survive, if that makes sense.
that's it. So if you're expecting something, you won't really care as much. Like if for your birthday, every year for your birthday, you get $50.
Mhm.
When you get it on your birthday, you don't even care that much because you were already expecting to get the $50.
Kind of. um I mean, it's more so the fact that, well, there's another theory that essentially the lead up to something, you're infinitely more happy than the actual
Oh,
thing.
I 100%
That's like a,
believe that.
but yeah, essentially that hedonic adaptation, it's different because there's a year in between. So you can sort of play with a few elements of happiness from what I've understood in the concept. But yeah, then you'd be like, well, instead of $50, I want $75. And then you get $75 for 2 years. And then you're like, well, I want 100. And especially with money and tangible things, those things bring us way less happiness, and the happiness level is way shorter than experiences.
But I guess it depends on what experience you want.
What do you mean?
That you mean like if you wanna, I've always wanted to go snorkeling here, or I've always wanted to see the city in Europe. Like you need a bunch of money to do that, unless you're seeing experiences that you're able to do within where you live.
I mean, just experiences in general, or an experiential, like a class or an event, or do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I think it's everything just costs money now. Like I guess you can find a way to do it. If you want to learn a language, you could probably do it for free. If you want to, I guess what are like a couple of things you'd pick that you could do for free that would be like
I mean,
those
well,
activities that you're like, this would make you happy without needing
oh, it's not
money.
saying completely that you don't need to spend any amount of money. Like if it's a class that costs, I don't know, $500, or a pair of shoes that costs $500. Um, I'm getting this information, by the way, from the that Yale happiness class that everyone raves about, which tells you about the science of being happy, which I guess now should be called being content, but I digress.
Have you already talked about this?
I mentioned it maybe briefly a long time ago, but it's one of those things that can sort of be repeated, and that's one thing that wouldn't be redundant, really.
Mm-hmm.
um, you're going to have way more long-term joy from the class that you spent $500 on than the pair of shoes, because also the build up to buying the physical object brings you more joy than the actual ownership of the object, and it feeds into that hedonic adaptation. So you get that fancy car, you want the next fanciest car. So that level of joy, and the if it's a car too, it depreciates in value. And experience or education can't depreciate in value. So I'm guessing that that's a major part of it too.
Unless you lose your memory, dementia. Eventually,
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
just be nothing to you.
yeah. But I mean, then that's basically saying, what's the point of doing any
Yeah,
birds out
just
of
sit in your house.
anyway? Yeah,
Agoraphobe.
yeah. That's like the John Mulaney joke that he just sat in a room for 30 years eating saltines and just came out to perform a show for you. That is ultimately one of my favorite jokes because he does look like somebody that has
Oh,
done.
just because he looks like he's from back in time?
Yeah, and just because he just seems like someone that would have never had any problem. You know what I mean? He just very,
Yep.
cookie cutter. Yeah.
You know, it's pretty cool. Did you watch SNL with last Saturday with Jason Bateman?
I watched the clips, which
I like him as an actor, but he's pretty awkward when he hosts. He's almost too stiff. He's like he's not very funny in those like improv type roles.
I forget where I saw this, but he recently was some interview. He was talking about how it is difficult to play the straight man role and how he feels like he's sort of
Pigeonholed?
that person. What?
Oh, he's pigeonholed, or he thinks he's become what he's always played?
He's sort of pigeonholed, and I think he then carries that over even to playing, because when you're an SNL host, it's like you're playing you as a character,
Yeah,
as another character.
yeah.
And like
So he thinks he has to be that guy from Ozarks and um,
development,
Arrested Development.
and that movie with what is her name? Melissa McCarthy. Um,
Mm.
Tammy, was it? No, was it
Oh, did she steal his identity?
Identity?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the ultimate straight man
yeah,
because she's all physical comedy, all insanity, and then
yep.
even keel.
Interesting.
Hey, by the way, sorry if you hear this, the classic ice ASMR noise. I'm still finishing coffee from like, I don't know what time, like 5 p.m. But it stays
What do you got? Just like Duncan?
and whatever coffee was at the house, plus a little oat milk, living the dream.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm still following my $25 a week coffee budget. So that's been going well. That's shocking for me because this will sicken you. But I probably spent, oh, let's do the math. I'll break out my phone really quick and do the math of how much I spent in coffee per month. So
Well, you probably got, okay, how many days? You 30? Like whatever you did every day, including like Monday through Sunday?
at my peak, I could go up to twice a day. Most recently, it was probably about 5 days a week.
Okay, so 5 days a week, twice a day, 20, it's like 40 times a month. Yeah, 40 times a month, you'd get coffee, and it's probably like $4.
Each? One would be like 350. One would be like four. So it'd be like $7 a day. 750, we'll say, times 30. $225 a month.
Okay, and then with this, you're at 100, so you less than.
No, $25 a month.
Oh, wow. I thought you meant a week.
No, 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 no.
I was like, that's still like, oh, wow. So
I don't
you can
include
get
if
like,
somebody gets it for me as like purchases it for me. Like I don't
but
count
then,
that because I didn't spend money.
okay, but then do you ask people to get it for you?
No, 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 no. If someone offers, I say yes, but I don't.
Okay, so you have, what is that? Like, like $6 a week. Can you get 2 coffees a week with that or no?
Yeah, if I do one time at Dunkin' and get my like bare minimum iced coffee, and then if I just do iced coffee at Starbucks, yeah.
Man, so what day do you pick? Like, when you wake up on a Monday, are you like, today's the day? Or do you save it on Wednesday and
Uh,
Saturday?
Here's the deal: if I treat anything like I'm rationing it, that
So you,
will throw everything.
so you just have to feel it.
Yeah,
Like if it's a Thursday, you might not do it for 4 days and it's Thursday and you're just like, oh, it's time.
yeah. If I'm out and about, or if I am near a coffee shop that I like if I'm
Okay.
down in the city and there's a certain few coffee shops I enjoy, I'll be like, oh, get coffee here. Or if I'm like, I don't know, I don't like getting gas. So if I am getting gas on that day, I'll be like, well, then I'll make my day better and get coffee.
Okay, so if you had to pick your top 3 chain coffee places, what would you pick?
Huh. Well, I mean,
It
there's
could be regional chain, but there has to be more than like 10 of them.
okay. I'm trying to think. What's the Well, I mean, obviously Starbucks.
Okay, so they'd be in the top 3.
Yeah, I mean it's a chain. It's
Yeah,
everywhere. It's
yeah.
There's a sense of like you feel like you're in civilization when you come across a Starbucks. Like you're like, oh, this place is functioning.
Yeah.
Um, Probably Dunkin' next, just because they're more affordable, even though they're not even that affordable anymore. Unless you find their like deals. That's another thing I need to look up is when they have their $1.99 or whatever the price is.
Yep.
Then I can magnify my
They have like those 3 to 5 p.m. happy hour type things.
yeah, but I haven't seen any of those in a long time. So I don't know. And then there's one coffee chain. I'm trying to think. It was in LA in Venice. Let's see. Venice.
Is this John the Juicer or Tom the? You know what I'm talking about?
On the juicer. I know what you're talking about, but it's not that.
Okay.
That's a juice.
But they probably sell coffee too.
Yeah, but they're more juice. Like
Okay.
I do like them a lot though. I've
Here's the thing. If you can't think of the chain off the top, then you can't put it in your top 3.
Well, it's in between two. I can't remember.
Okay, pick the one you.
Okay, the one that came to my brain was Blue
Yeah.
Bottle Coffee.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's like luxury, um, like a luxury Starbucks.
What's it called?
Blue Bottle Coffee.
They're everywhere.
They're a chain. I mean, there's probably
Hmm.
a couple in LA, a couple in New York, some in Chicago,
Interesting.
maybe DC. I've seen people buy it from other places around the country, so
Yep.
there has to be. I don't know. Let me see how many Blue Bottle. The other place I'm thinking of is Intelligentsia Coffee. I think that's the one
I've heard of that.
That's the one I'm thinking
Yeah.
that I went to in. It was on. I think it was on Abbot Kinney in Venice and LA. Um, I like the energy of that place. It's again expensive, but if you're gonna go to a coffee shop, I mean, it has like this weird back entrance too. So I think there's a front entrance too, but the back entrance you feel very like secret. Like I don't know, something about it feels very cool.
Was it at 6902 Hollywood Boulevard or?
No.
Gotcha.
Why are you asking that?
You didn't buy that shirt there?
Oh. Oh, what, 90, it was 6902, I think. No, I got this, I think, in the men's section at Urban Outfitters on sale, baby, for like $6.
Shocking. I'm surprised it's not like $70 because it's.
It probably originally was, but it's also white, and I feel like people don't buy white because I'm gonna have a nice little makeup stain right there.
Yep.
It'll look like I'm like a little dirt person. No, I haven't speaking of shopping, I haven't shopped in forever in like a regular store. What about you? was the last item of clothing that you bought?
Oh man. Honestly, I got that little like Patagonia zip up after I won a bunch of money at the casino right before you came up to visit.
Oh, that was a long.
Yeah. And that's the only reason I went because I won like, I
Oh, I
don't know, like,
remember that.
yeah, like $2,000. I was like, I'll get this jacket. And then you came up and that's when we went to like the cool bars.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
yeah, yep. That's it. That's it. And then we went to Target
that,
a
yeah.
couple weeks back. And that's when I don't get
Yeah, discuss that. Tell me the last time before then you had gone to Target.
probably like 5, 6 years before to get like stuff for college.
That's insane to me that you.
And going in there, like I was telling you, I don't get the Target hype. Target seems
Well, it's not.
you could say it's not for me, but I could go to a women's store. Target's obviously not a women's store, but I could go to a women's store. I'm obviously nothing's for me, but I can appreciate and get why people like it. Target, I don't like.
So interesting. You might, you know what's funny is you keep saying this, you might end up talking me out of enjoying going to Target, which I never would have ever fathomed.
Everything there seems like just super generic stuff you could just get on Amazon.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's not like Target has a really cool atmosphere. It's like just tile flooring, fluorescent lights, 200 people. It's got that weird little grocery market in the corner selling frozen food and pears. And then they just have all their, I don't get it. I don't think, I don't know. Keep going there if you like. I just don't get the hype.
No, you know what's funny is I'm doing a test for myself. So recently, as you know, I've really minimalized my lifestyle, my shopping habits, my
Mm-hmm.
spending, my possessions. I've gotten rid of, I think, 32% now of my possessions.
It's very specific.
Well, I use a spreadsheet to calculate.
There we go.
So you'd appreciate that. The magic of the spreadsheets. I use Google Sheets, not Excel. So my apologies, but um, I don't got that Word 2020 money or whatever Word we're on now.
Wait,
Um,
you don't have to pay for that.
yeah, you do.
What?
You have to pay for the package. I don't. I, I'm not gonna spend. I don't know.
Okay. I didn't know you had to pay for that. I thought it just came on your computer.
You probably get it for work, right?
But like right now, I'm on my personal computer and it's always been there. Like Excel, Word. I don't know if it's,
You maybe have gotten it for free from college.
yeah, maybe. I
Mine
didn't know you.
expired, and then I
I
was.
just didn't know you had to pay
Yeah,
money for that.
you can either pay
Hmm.
per month now, or you can buy the actual
You have to pay. You have to pay, man, pay per month to get Microsoft Word.
and like the package, like Word,
Jeez.
Excel. What's the other one?
Yeah, PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, why would I do that if I can just use Google Docs?
yeah. I didn't know that. That's funny.
See, aren't you proud of me that I'm using the budget friendly version?
Yeah.
But I am doing a challenge for myself because I do actually have to go. I do need to go to Target to buy um, organizational things because I'm helping our mom and dad redo the basement, so I need to purchase them because
No,
I
here's the thing. I
can't.
get they sell stuff that people need. Like,
No, but here's my
I
thing.
don't get why people like. Why would you enjoy going to Target to
Here's
pick
the
that
thing.
up?
I do enjoy going to Target, and
That's what I don't get. Like,
it's because everything is laid out really specifically, like there's little sections, and I'm also
but isn't that like that's like Kmart was like that. Walmart is like that. Like what they have specific sections. It's like I don't get
they have
how
more.
is Target laid out?
I'm telling you, they have more marketing, and especially it's marketed not to someone like you. You can also see through those marketing tricks, and I'm starting to.
Like
But
what? But like what trick are you talking about? Just like,
That little, like, oh, the candle section, that Magnolia Home section.
is that Chip and Joanna?
Joanne, yeah, they have that organized very nicely, and then that leads
Do you
into.
like them?
I think they're fine. What about you?
Ah, they're pretty cool. They seem the most genuine out of all those shows.
Yeah,
I think they're the most, I don't know if, yeah, maybe real.
yeah. I don't like how they've started this weird. Everyone needs to have the same looking house trend.
Isn't that like every show on HGTV? Like everyone on HGTV has their shtick, like their look.
No, I know, and that frustrates me because I also
Then,
don't.
but why do you buy stuff from their section at Target,
Like,
right?
see what I mean? This is how you're going to talk me out of this
You
whole.
don't like their generic.
It's this Target K-hole that you can't escape from. As much as I want to escape, I can't. It's this weird play on my brain, especially these like things I know I do not need and aren't even enjoyable. Like they have a little artwork section. I would rather get vintage art, or like for the podcast, having a friend of mine I went to college with who's an artist creating a custom piece of art for me. I would much rather do that, but then those little pieces, I see them everywhere and I'm like,
So
oh,
you're still gonna get that live, laugh, love.
no, 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 no. No, not those. No, no, no. But there's like little, they play on trends really well, and always need to go in there and remind myself it's a trend. That will be obsolete in 6 months, and I'll probably get it on sale. So that means the trend will be good for 2 months. Do you know what I mean? So there's no long-term value in what I'm purchasing, unless I find like a candle on sale there that I'll actually enjoy.
Yeah,
But I do need to buy plastic organizational items that I can't find anywhere else online. They're all sold out everywhere, so I do have to go in store, because the last time we went there, I did see them there because I was like, oh, they actually do have them there. So I'm going to do a really big test for myself. I will not leave there with anything except if I need any grocery items, because they do have a few vegan grocery items that I can't really buy elsewhere, or organizational items that are required for what I'm doing.
okay.
This is my test. I know that you think this is
Good luck. Good luck.
I feel good about it. I'm gonna bring everyone an update. I know Nate doesn't think this is a real struggle, but if you are someone that has a Target addiction, comment down below and try to explain to Nate where this
Yeah,
freedom.
I'm interested. Genuinely interested. Okay, I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I see why you like Target.
What's your like go-to shopping location aside from groceries or
What am
something?
I buying?
What was the last thing you purchased that was in person and not, you know, at a grocery store?
I got some lottery tickets.
Okay, well that's like something you'd buy at a gas station.
It sounds like you're making me say something clothing. Like,
No, no, I mean a home item, um decor, shoes.
it's been a minute. I'm trying to look around this room even. I didn't buy any. I bought some sports cards.
Okay.
Not on eBay. Not in store. Doesn't count.
No, not really.
Okay.
Still technically on.
Oh, I bought a Lego set at the mall
For you?
to resell.
Oh, what a specific.
Star Wars Lego set.
Oh, somebody will buy that.
Hot commodities.
Oh, I
Man,
want to get my
it
hands on.
is.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to. It's crazy. I'm trying to think.
You really don't spend money on things.
Food and drinks is all of it.
Yeah, but I mean,
That's
what's
what I'm saying. Not, yeah, not like clothing.
what do you think your monthly food budget is?
Hmm. Groceries, we probably spend, and this is for two people. Groceries, we probably spend like 140 a week, and then I probably end up doing DoorDash. Well, I never used DoorDash before a lot. This is more recent. I
I feel like,
probably do DoorDash 3 times a week, and that's like 40 to 50 a pop,
oh wow.
150. If I get a bottle of bourbon, that might be $50, but that's not weekly. That's like sporadic. Maybe a couple 6 packs IPAs here and there. Yeah, probably maybe like 1,000 a month.
Oh my God.
And this is like including like going out to eat, drinking. Like right now, I'm supplementing that with DoorDash. But like, I'm guessing, but I would say around that. But
That's
then again, I don't like buy things. Like that's my thing. Eating and drinking, like going to places I like that's my thing.
you could get a meal delivery service for that much.
I tried that what is it? 360 HelloFresh.
No, 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 no. I'm talking more like a local. Have you seen those ones? It's like luxury meal delivery service where it's, I'm sure they have some in Detroit. It's like local and they bring it to your door like every day
Mm,
or every other day.
no.
Oh,
Thousand maybe I think I'm close. Maybe 800. Maybe 800 is a better thing. But yeah, that's most of
that,
probably what I spend.
wow. And what's crazier is all of that and not a single green juice is probably purchased.
No, I do not get any juices.
That to me is a sin in itself. If you're spending that much on groceries and food, get a green juice.
I don't like those things.
Well, then get one of the sugary ones that you could enjoy.
I don't like any. They all have so much. Like if you get
Not if you do a straight up green juice, like celery, kale, turmeric, and a little bit of lemon.
nothing about that is enjoyable to me. Like if I spent $7 to get that juice, like I wouldn't.
Oh, see, that's all I
None
want.
of that sounds appealing.
I want a weekly juice delivery where I have every day I drink a celery juice that's delivered to me, and then I have another green juice or other specialty juice for later in the day.
You haven't seen? Did you watch You with Penn Badgley?
First season.
You didn't watch the second. That's right. We talked
No,
about
I
this.
need.
He throws up celery juice in the second season. Fun fact. If you watch it, you'll get to that point.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Oh no.
That's
I'll have,
all I'll say.
well, I
But
feel
no, I have zero desire to have celery juice.
next time I come visit you, we're gonna go to a juicery, and
You can find one.
I'll get you a juice, and you have to at least drink some of it, and hopefully,
Oh, I mean, if someone got it for me, I'll drink it. It's just I would never buy it casually.
I'll find one that you'll like, and then you'll become
Okay,
the
you can
one.
try.
At the Pittsburgh Juice Company, there's a juice. Um, it's this specialty lemonade. It's like healthy lemonade. It's really good. You'd probably like that a lot, actually.
Yeah,
Next
I'll try it.
next time you come visit, I'll splurge. I'll get myself some green juices there, and then yeah, we'll get you one of those lemonades. Um, but yeah, shout out to Pittsburgh Juice Company. They use reusable glass bottles. So if you're in Pittsburgh, check them out. They're pretty great and sustainable. Um, yeah, let's move on to. I sent you a little list of. I call it the set list of things to discuss. Let's see. These were just random questions that sort of appeared in my brain. So, uh, let's go with a more serious one. Why did you choose the current job that you have now? The floor is yours.
Okay, so I work in the procurement group at a bank. So I moved to Detroit and I applied. So my major's in supply chain management. So then I applied to like,
Explain to the people what supply chain is if they don't know. Because I didn't know until you did it.
you didn't know?
I knew when I didn't know it as in those words. I didn't know it was supply chain.
Like, what do you think it was? Like,
I just knew of the concept of how things worked. I didn't know there was a name for
mm, okay, so it might be kind of boring, but supply chain's like everything from when a product is produced to when you buy it. And if you have a supply chain degree, I mean, you can get a supply chain job if you almost have any degree. Like, it doesn't really matter what your
I
degree
could
is
probably get a
actually.
supply chain job.
Yeah, you because you can work in some facet of it. So you could be a buyer where you're purchasing all the product. So if you work for a retailer, you might be assigned women's outerwear. So you work with your vendors to purchase all the jackets, and you might have a little bit of wiggle room with price negotiation. You have to make sure in your stores only hold so much product. So you have to make sure you always have product in the shelves, but you can't have too much. And then if you have too little, you stock out. So it's just like the balancing act of making sure you always have what you need, but you can never have too much and you can never have too little. So like the daily struggle can just be putting out, like, you can plan as much as you want, but then someone comes in and buys all of your jackets unexpectedly, or whatever it may be. Something goes out of fashion and now you can't move it fast enough. So you have to try to put it on a promotion to get it off the floor. So there's being a buyer. You can work in transportation, pretty obvious. You could be a trucker, or you could be the person that manages all the trucks. So that's like transportation or logistics. You work with companies to manage when they're going to get their product in, where their product is on the road. So if it's coming from China, you might tell them where it is on the water, or just where it is on route to your destination. You can work in manufacturing, production. So like you're at a plant where whatever you're selling is being produced. That's usually seemingly pretty fast paced. And then you can work in warehousing, which is now, I think, like the biggest growing field.
Was that
Because now,
fulfillment?
exactly. So now with Amazon, like most of these companies, you see, like, even when you go through, like when you drive through Ohio, all these massive fulfillment centers, because people are just buying everything online. So these warehouses are just crazy big. So I feel like more supply chain jobs are going to be working at these warehouses and automating them, making them pick items quicker, and all of that piece. So I think warehousing is going to be the big piece. In retailing, um, I just don't think you're going to be holding as much in stores. So that's not going to be as much of a piece of it.
So essentially, it's everything that you sort of take for granted in your daily life.
Supply chain's everything. Yeah.
It's all these things of you're like, oh, this stuff just appears to me. It appears in stores. It appears at my home.
Yeah.
These things are just made and built, and it's all of the things that's why I think I didn't equate it to a term, because it's
Yeah.
big and it's just so taken for granted. You're just like, oh, this is a civilized country, industrialized country. Of course, this stuff just happens. You know,
It is interesting too, I think, because you can do that degree and whatever you're interested in, you can try to get into that. So if you love makeup, you can get in with Sephora, because Sephora probably has a pretty big supply chain, and then you can be a buyer for Sephora, and you're understanding how the makeup's made, how it's produced, where it comes from. So that's pretty, like, for you or someone else, that'd be pretty interesting. So I think you can learn a lot about like what you're into, because you can get a job, supply chain job, at any company basically.
No, I think that that's the perfect way if you have an interest and a more analytical mind that you can sort of pair those two things together. For me, I would do it if I needed to, and I'm sure I could find a passion in something like makeup supply chain, but I would rather be on the creative
Yeah,
person.
yeah, like
I think I'd
this.
be equipped to do that.
Yeah, supply chain's more if you're doing, you can get as close to what you want to do, but you're still in a traditional job.
Hmm.
Where if you want to do, like you're seeing the creative design side, obviously not supply chain. That's the whole other field of, what would you even call that? You're not a, it's not even marketing, but you're not, I guess it's an art, like art in some form. You're some type of creative artist or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, there'd be so,
Designer, product designer, maybe.
yeah, graphic designer,
Yeah, designer of some sort.
yeah, industrial design. There's a few of those,
Yeah.
sort of like what Rachel does.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there'd be fashion design, textile design, print design. I mean, even in the fashion industry, there's so much of, then it's sort of there's the middle ground world, which is like being a buyer, which mixes, you have to sort of deal with print design and those sorts of things,
Hmm.
but also purchasing. So in fashion, there's sort of that overlap space, but again, still for me, I'd much rather just be in the solely creative marketing, advertising, content creation realm than the more business
Yeah.
side. Not saying, I mean, every aspect, even if you're a creative, you have to have a business acumen to make money to survive, to keep doing that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. My brain is just not wired for full, analytical thinking all the time. It just isn't.
Yep. And I think, like, if you're gonna go to school for business, I think that's a good, like, if anyone's considering a career shift or a major and you're doing something more traditional route, I do think supply chain has a lot of opportunity. Like, if you never heard of it before, it's worth looking into.
Oh yeah, I think most
Um,
people would.
yeah, outside of maybe like the finance, accounting piece, even outside of marketing, yeah, I think it's, if anyone's interested, I think it's worth like looking stuff up and kind of learning about what you can do with it.
Yeah, so I know, your current position now, but I know eventually you want to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah,
Um,
that's the tough thing. Like you're picking up, I guess that's the perk. Like I feel like in these jobs, I'm learning how some stuff works. Where like, okay, if I ever did something on my own, I would know how involved each of these pieces are, which I wouldn't have known how detailed it can be. But when you're at these big companies, you're learning it at such a huge scale that it would work the same if you started your own company, like small, but you'd have to be like really scale it down. Like you wouldn't have a transportation team to go to. Like you would be that team. You wouldn't have marketing team. Like you're your marketing team. But I think you do kind of understand. Like I have at least kind of started to learn, if I was able to think of a business idea that I wanted to run with, I think the past few years have helped me understand what it would take.
oh yeah.
But it's also easy to be like, I just have the comfort level of a normal 9 to 5 type job. You know what you're getting paid all the time. You know, health insurance. I guess I don't really think of health insurance, but because thankfully haven't had too many things, but obviously like they'll come up. But that's a big thing, I guess, to have that piece of it too.
Oh yeah.
Um,
And just
but
not having to lay you're like, if
there's less pressure. Yeah, you
you
don't.
don't have to lay your own train tracks. You're already on the tracks, you're on the train. As long as
Yep.
you're firing the coal into the oven, things are okay.
Yeah, that's a
That
good way
analogy,
to put it.
that analogy makes sense.
But yeah, I think it's easy to get complacent. But then you look at that whole thing, like that article on contentment. Like, but then what's the difference between being complacent and content? I don't know.
Well, that's funny because I was thinking that too, because I was like, I always use the word content in a negative way. And then I was like, no,
The,
that's not.
yeah.
Complacent, I think, is the word you need to worry about. Complacent is, I don't know the exact definition, but essentially it's just living and not migrating towards something or having an intent or purpose. And
Okay.
in
Yeah.
the way I look at the definition, so it's sort of a lack of ambition. Contentment is finding peace within yourself. So I don't think it has anything to do with the ambition. And so that's why looking back now, I was initially trying to think, I'm like, I don't like that word contentment. It's no, I didn't like the word complacent.
Yeah.
I was mistaking for contentment.
Yeah. No, I agree. That's a good way to put it. That I'd be interested if, any viewer or listener did or has attempted to start a business and it failed, or is starting one and maybe it's going okay, or one that went well. I think it'd be interesting to kind of get your perspective. Um,
Yeah, drop a comment down below if you've had either experience, and if you do have a business, a small business that you have. Next episode, we'll give you a shout out in the description. Just because I always want to pass on the resources that I have, which are so very small right now. But eventually, I want to be able to promote my friends' books and businesses, and hopefully, I'll have more friends in the entertainment industry, and their TV shows and commercials they make and whatever. I would love to have sort of a running list of maybe in my Instagram drop down as well. I can sort of have a link that's things my friends have created, so everyone else can enjoy all those cool things as well, but on a smaller scale. Drop in a comment below if you have a business that you want promote. Give it a little description and yeah, and a story behind it. If you have a history or if you failed, no shame in that. I have failed in so many things I've attempted, so many. Nate can attest to that.
yeah, I mean, it's admirable. I'm always impressed with people who go for it, because I feel like, what do they say? If you start your own business, like 95% fail. So like you're going in at pretty low odds. So it's admirable that you even go for it.
Yeah, I think you have to be a little bit crazy to start a business or create something, or even like doing this right now, starting a podcast. I mean, I think so many people in my life thought that was crazy and still do. And I haven't even, announced it on my personal Instagram. So I'm sure I'll get other messages from people saying, what's wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Why are you wasting your time? But again, you have to be a little bit crazy to try new things. And those are the people that, if you do try, then you do succeed monumentally because you risked a lot to then gain a lot. It was like Jordan Belfort's parents. He said they would never be beyond this certain level of comfort because they couldn't take any risk at all. And he saw his parents take no risk. And so then he was like, well, I am going to, I mean, he's an extreme example, but I'm going to not be like this because I know what my trajectory will be if I follow their life choices.
And
I mean,
I guess you could argue it's worked out pretty well. Like, I mean, he broke a lot of laws,
listen, he's doing fine now. He's a
but
podcast.
yeah,
He's
nothing
living
really
his life.
happened to him.
He went to jail, but he went to like Club Fed and
He got like a slap on the wrist, and he's still. I think the movie came out because what is it called? Reparations. He has to pay back people,
yes,
and I think part of the movie and the book like
all of
is
his
going,
money. Yeah, I
but
mean,
not all of it. He still seems like he's living pretty well, so he's still able to keep a decent chunk.
yeah, he does speaking engagements now. I mean,
It's just wild. I guess it's white collar crime. If you commit white collar crime,
and you're wealthy and you're white. Yeah, things can be okay for you.
yeah, like that guy. You're right. He did. I was gonna say it didn't really pay off for him, but even when the worst case scenario happened to him, he's living better than like 90% of the people
And people on I mean, I watch his podcast on occasion. I watch clips of it. Sometimes his stuff is he's a little too,
out there.
yeah, sometimes. But a lot of the times he actually does have really great
Does he kind of come off as a snake oil salesman a little bit?
Weirdly enough, no, because he's very
Mm.
transparent with his content. Unlike a lot of other gurus, if you'll call them, sort of the financial people that sell courses and things like that. Yeah, I think because people know that he went to prison, he's pretty transparent. He's like, if you want to listen to
Yeah, all his dirty laundry is kind of aired out, so he doesn't really have to hide anything.
yeah, there's something cathartic and freeing in that. What else do you have to hide about yourself? I mean, you would have
Yeah.
literally a movie made about him.
Yep.
3-hour movie written by
It
Scorsese.
was a little bit too long. I usually don't mind long movies, but near the end, I read the book was great, but I think at like 2.5 hours, I was like, oh my god,
I love that movie. I thought it was just, I mean,
it was a good movie.
the cinematography. I could have watched that cinema. I love Scorsese films. But yeah, we're right at that hour point. So I'm trying to think of how we want to end today's episode. What's one thing that you're grateful that your job has taught you, this recent job? It can either be in like traditional business world, or in your something that you've learned that translated over to your personal life.
Um, this isn't maybe like inspirational or anything, but I think realizing like to be pretty successful, you don't have to be super intelligent or even, I think work ethic's the biggest thing, but like not even that, like almost like if you're just pretty self-aware and have enough passion or interest in something, that alone can get you like 90% of the way there. You don't need to be the most intelligent person in the room. You don't even, you don't have to work 20 hours a day. Like if you're interested in something and you like take some time to learn some new skills, like just a little bit of initiative is all you really need to either work your way up the chain, or I feel like even start your own business. Like, at my company, or any supply chain company, you work with vendors. So you might have small mom and pops that started their own company, and you have some companies present to you and you're like, wow, that was a pretty rough presentation, or I can't believe like who would buy this. But then you realize these are companies still in business. And I think it makes you realize there's just so much opportunity out there that you can take a shot. And if you want something enough, you'll probably be pretty successful. Like it's not like there are all these like roadblocks there. It gives you hope that, hey, if these people can do it, I can definitely do it. Like it's not rocket science. So it's
Yeah,
not really a hard skill, but just realizing it's not as hard as you think it's going to be. If I think like you have to be pretty interested in it and want to do it. But if you have that, I think that's kind of all you need. Which before I thought you needed all these, and these all help, but like connections, and you need all this capital from other people, and like, oh, how do you get this? But all these other pieces help a lot, but I don't think you have to have them. Which before I just assumed, oh, you need this, and that to get off the ground, but like I don't think you really do.
I like that. It's essentially the abundance theory plus a little bit of confidence all mixed in like a little
Yeah, I
pot.
guess it's like, yeah, sales. Just have to sell yourself, even if your product's not
Yeah,
product or service isn't that hot.
yeah. And as for me, I don't work in a traditional sphere, but I always like the quote, it's not mine, but things don't get easier, you get better. And I've definitely noticed that, where if you put in the work, especially with writing, it's muscle memory. It doesn't get easier, but you get better. And so that's just such an important thing to look forward to. And you won't realize it because it happens over time and it's an incremental change. It's like the boiling of the frog. The frog doesn't realize it's getting boiled until that heat hits its peak point if you do it over a slow period of time. But when you do have that aha moment, where I've recently had that with a few projects I was working on, it's a pretty cool feeling. So if you're a little bit stuck right now, just keep that in your mind's eye to aspire to. And you'll have that cool epiphany one day. You're just sitting on your porch drinking coffee and you are dreading your day's work. And then later on in the evening, you finish it and go, oh, I'm like a master at this now. It's just a really cool feeling. But on that note, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you to everyone listening and watching for joining. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, email me at 11jacobsa@gmail.com. Some more video content is coming, and some more interviews. And yeah, I have a few other things in the pipeline that hopefully will happen. But you know, my pacing has been all over the place, so just be patient, and more episodes will come. Thanks, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks, Nate.
Yeah. See ya.